Hello and welcome to this Monday edition of the World Report. I'm Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced a 4-point plan. It's in fact a blueprint to end the war and protect Ukraine from future Russian attacks. Now, Starmer has announced a coalition of the willing. It's a core group of nations led by the UK and France, pledging military aid, economic pressure on Russia, and guarantees for Ukraine's security. Meanwhile, the US isn't a part of this coalition yet, but Europe wants Washington on board. Now, this summit follows a fierce showdown between Zelensky and Trump at the White House, exposing deep cracks over Ukraine. Take a look.
A war raging for 3 years, a divided West, and now a high-stakes summit that could decide Ukraine's future.
Through my discussions over recent days, we've agreed that the UK, France and others will work with Ukraine on a plan to stop the fighting.
It's now of utmost importance to step up the defence investment for a prolonged period of time.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced a 4-point plan, a blueprint to end the war and protect Ukraine from future Russian attacks. Starmer has announced Coalition of the Willing, a core group of nations led by the UK and France, pledging military aid, economic pressure on Russia, and guarantees for Ukraine's security. The US isn't part of this coalition yet, but Europe wants Washington on board. This summit follows a fierce showdown between Zelensky and Trump at the White House, exposing deep cracks over Ukraine. UK PM Keir Starmer has said that first the UK must keep military aid flowing and increase pressure on Russia. Second, any peace deal must guarantee Ukraine's sovereignty, with Kiev directly at the table. Third, Starmer wants Ukraine's defenses strengthened to prevent future invasions. And fourth, he called for a coalition of the willing, countries that will guarantee the peace deal and defend Ukraine afterwards.
The purpose of today's meeting was to unite our partners around this effort, to strengthen Ukraine and to support a just and enduring peace for the good of all of us.
The UK is backing its promise with £1.6 billion to buy over 5,000 air defence missiles, on top of a £2.2 billion loan funded by profits from frozen Russian assets. Starmer warned against any weak deal that Russia can easily break, saying Europe must lead, but US support is essential. Leaders from France, Germany, Poland, Sweden, Turkey and Canada, alongside the EU chief and NATO head, attended the summit. EU chief Ursula von der Leyen warned that Europe urgently needs to rearm and loosen budget rules to fund defence. The big question: can Starmer's coalition unite Europe, bring Trump on side and secure peace without handing victory to Moscow? With Rhythm Arcadia, Bureau Report, NDTV World.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer stressed on Sunday he did not accept that the US was an unreliable ally. In fact, Starmer said that the US has been a reliable ally to the UK for many, many decades and continues to be so to this day. His comments came after the UK hosted talks with multiple world leaders on a way to end the war in Ukraine. Listen in.
Well, first, in relation to last Friday, nobody wanted to see what happened last Friday, but I do not accept that the US is an unreliable ally. The US has been a reliable ally to the UK for many, many decades and continues to be. There are no two countries as closely aligned as our two countries, and our defence, our security and intelligence is intertwined in a way no two other countries are. So it's an important and reliable ally for us. The discussions we've had today, particularly the coalition of the willing, is on the basis that this is a plan that we will work with the US and that it will have US backing. So that is the purpose of the plan, and that is why I spoke to President Trump last night before we developed the work on this plan.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal will be in Washington, in fact, to meet officials of the US administration. This comes weeks after PM Narendra Modi, in fact, and US President Donald Trump decided on a bilateral trade agreement. Now, during his visit, Piyush Goyal is set to meet the US trade representative and the US Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, among other officials. Mr. Goyal will also be in America till the 6th of March. This, as Washington had threatened to slap reciprocal tariffs on countries including India within a month. A high-level Belgian delegation led by Princess Astrid is in India till the 8th of March to boost trade and diplomatic tide. Now, Astrid, joined by Belgian Deputy Prime Minister Maxime Prévost and Matthias Diependale, he's the Minister President of Flanders, apparently attended a seminar on water and waste management solutions for a climate-resilient world in New Delhi. The delegation is accompanied by a major economic mission with 36 companies and 4 official organizations as well. Their program is set to include expansion of trade ties in domains like pharmaceuticals, logistics, defense, construction, and clean technologies. Official meetings of the Belgium delegation are scheduled with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Minister for Trade and Industry Piyush Goyal, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, and EAM S. Jaishankar. Now, both the countries' bilateral trade was around $15.7 billion American dollars in 2024. A 47-year-old Indian man from Kerala, Thomas Gabriel Pereira, was shot dead by Jordanian soldiers while trying to cross into Israel illegally. Now, Pereira had entered Jordan on a visitor's visa and attempted to cross the border on the 10th of February. His relative Edison, who also tried to cross with Pereira, was shot but survived and has since returned to India. Meanwhile, the Indian embassy in Jordan confirmed the incident and is working to bring Pereira's body back to India. The shooting happened as tensions remain high in the region, with violence escalating in the West Bank and the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. JD Vance faced pro-Ukraine protests during his ski holiday in Vermont, the day unprecedented Oval Office clash with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. JD was greeted by protesters holding pro-Ukraine signs. Some called him a traitor, an international embarrassment, and some asked him to, in fact, go ski in Russia instead. Take a look at these reactions.
He is recreating while thousands of people are losing their jobs, losing their health care, losing their funding.
This is a group of people who has always been supportive of standing with Ukraine. However, I think yesterday's performance at the White House has probably galvanized even more people to come out today.
After what he did yesterday, he crossed the line.
Then, after the meeting yesterday with Zelensky, I feel like all of America should be out here protesting.
Taliban has rejected US President Donald Trump's claim that China controls Bagram airfield in Afghanistan. In an interview with the Afghan state television, Taliban spokesperson called Trump's remarks emotional and misinformed. He said no Chinese forces are present in Afghanistan and Bagram remains under Taliban control. On US-made weapons left in Afghanistan, the Taliban says they belong to the previous Afghan government and will be in fact used to defend the country. Now, Trump has demanded the Taliban return billions of dollars worth of US military equipment left behind after the haphazard US withdrawal in 2021. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo held his first campaign rally on Sunday following his announcement that he was running, in fact, for the mayor of New York City. The Democrats' entry into the race Saturday launches his political career following a years-long exile over a barrage of sexual harassment accusations which he denies. Now, Cuomo, who was introduced by his 3 daughters, Mariah, Chiara, and Michaela, told the crowd that New York City was in quote-unquote crisis, but that he was certain we can turn this city around. Listen in.
We are here today because we know New York is in crisis. But we know something else. We know that we can turn this city around, and we know we will. We know the problems. We know the problems, but we also know the solutions.
US President Donald Trump has signed an executive order designating English, in fact, as the official language of the United States. The order allows government agencies and organizations that receive federal funding to choose whether to continue to offer documents and services in languages other than English. Israel halted aid deliveries to Gaza Sunday after the first phase of a US negotiated ceasefire deal expired, raising fears of a resumption in fighting. In fact, Israeli officials said Hamas had rejected an extension backed by Washington that would require the release of half of the remaining hostages before further negotiations unravel. Hamas, meanwhile, accused Israel of violating the original agreement, spurred by US President Donald Trump's much criticized proposal to effectively, in fact, take over Gaza. Arab nations have meanwhile ramped up efforts to resolve the war.
Israel has decided to stop letting goods and supplies into Gaza, something we've done for the past 42 days. We've done that because Hamas steals the supplies and prevents the people of Gaza from getting them. It uses these supplies to finance its terror machine, which is aimed directly at Israel and our civilians, and this we cannot accept. We will take further steps if Hamas continues to hold our hostages. And throughout this, Israel knows that America and President Trump have our back. Thank you again, President Trump. Thank you for all you're doing to return our hostages, bolster our security, and provide a future of prosperity and peace for all the peoples of the Middle East.
Meanwhile, more than 2,000 people took to the streets of Jerusalem, calling for a deal to release all hostages still being held in Gaza. Demonstrators held signs reading, "We are all hostages," and "End the war," while one protester wore a mask depicting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dressed in a prison uniform. Take a look.
We need to end the war immediately, as President said. Stop this crazy war immediately. Release them. They are not going anywhere. The Hamas, we can treat them whenever we want. But first of all, we have to release the hostages to stop the war and then to find the way back to our normal life.
Maldives President Mohammed Muizzu is facing mounting crises as Ramadan begins. There's a severe shortage of essential medicines, which Muizzu blames on a so-called medical mafia profiteering allegedly from drug sales in the island nation. At the same time, his government's move to cut the Supreme Court size from 7 judges to 5 has sparked allegations of a power grab and democratic backsliding. The opposition is demanding accountability while the country struggles with failing revenues and declining foreign exchange reserves. Now, Muizzu has promised medicines will be restocked by mid-March, but no clear plan has been shared yet. Meanwhile, over at the Vatican, Pope Francis is now off mechanical ventilation and is resting well as he battles double pneumonia for the 18th day in a Rome hospital. The Vatican says the 88-year-old pontiff is stable and has no fever, but his condition remains serious. Now, this is due to his history of lung issues. Francis, the Pope, was admitted on February 14th with severe respiratory problems that worsened into double pneumonia. The Pope's doctors are cautious about his prognosis, and the Pope himself has not been seen in public since his hospitalization. His longest absence, in fact, since becoming Pope in 2013. It's time we step into a short break. See you on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching The World Report with me, Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. US President Donald Trump has named 5 digital assets, including Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, XRP, and Cardano, as part of America's new strategic crypto reserve. The move sent crypto prices soaring, with Bitcoin jumping 11% to over $94,000. Trump's announcement follows his executive order on digital assets, signaling a big shift in US crypto policy. Meanwhile, experts say it could accelerate, in fact, institutional investment and provide clearer regulations. The cryptocurrency market rode into March with a rally, recouping some of its losses from the asset class's worst month since 2022. Now, this after US President Donald Trump once again talked up his plan for a strategic crypto reserve. In fact, Trump has revealed that the names of the 5 cryptocurrencies that he said he'd like to be included in a new strategic reserve to make the US the crypto capital of the world. The market prices of all 5 coins he names all swiftly jumped after the announcement. It is, however, unclear how the new stockpile will work. More information is expected on Friday, when Trump plans to host the first crypto summit, in fact, at the White House. Italian luxury giant Prada is moving closer to sealing a $1.6 billion deal to acquire Versace from Capri Holdings. According to a Bloomberg report, the deal could be finalized as soon as March. Prada reportedly got preferential access to Versace's financials ahead of other suitors. Capri Holdings bought Versace in 2018 for 1.83 billion euros. Now, this also includes debt. Neither Prada nor Capri have officially commented on this deal. Volkswagen is recalling more than 60,000 vehicles in the US due to a safety issue that could cause cars to roll away if the parking brake isn't engaged. The recall affects some models of Volkswagen's ID4 and Audi's Q4 e-tron, produced between 2021 and 23. Now, the US auto safety regulator says the issue is linked to a failure to display the gear position correctly. SoftBank is reportedly in talks to borrow $16 billion to boost its investments in AI. According to tech site The Information, SoftBank may borrow an additional $8 billion in early 2026. The Japanese giant has already committed $15 billion to the AI project Stargate. It's a venture backed by OpenAI and Oracle. SoftBank's AI push comes after reports that it could invest up to $25 billion in OpenAI itself. The UK's privacy watchdog has launched an investigation into TikTok, Reddit, and Imgur over how they handle children's personal data. The probe will focus on how these platforms use algorithms to target young users and how they check the age of the child users. TikTok was already fined £12.7 million in 2023 for illegally using data of children under 13 without parental consent. Chinese smartphone brand Honor plans to invest $10 billion in AI development over the next 5 years. The company, once a sub-brand of Huawei, made the announcement ahead of the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Honor says it wants to move beyond smartphones and develop AI-powered PCs, tablets, and even wearables, all part of its preparations, in fact, for a futuristic public listing, the company says. Chinese AI startup DeepSeek says its popular V3 and R1 models generate a theoretical daily profit margin of 545%. In a rare disclosure, the company said it spends around $87,000, in fact, a day on interface, the process of running trained AI models, but earns over $560,000 every day. However, the company admitted actual revenue is much lower. The company's low-cost AI approach has rattled global rivals who spend billions on more advanced chipsets. The World Anti-Doping Agency is expanding its intelligence and investigations programs to Asia and Oceania after a successful run in Europe. Now, the program, launched in 2022, led to the seizure of over 25 tons of performance-enhancing drugs and even the shutdown of 25 illegal labs across Europe. WADA, or the World Anti-Doping Agency, says these efforts prevented more than 500 million doses from ever hitting the global markets. Now, WADA hopes for a similar success in Asia and Oceania, where doping control and cooperation with law enforcement remain critical challenges in global sports. Greek tennis star Stefanos Tsitsipas is back in the world's top 10 after winning the Dubai Championships. His first ATP title in nearly a year came after switching to a mystery racket. Now, it's a move that seems to have worked for Tsitsipas. The tennis ace, in fact, also says returning to the top 10 feels incredible and credits her hard work and sacrifices. After months of poor form, including early Grand Slam exits, the Dubai win gives Tsitsipas a much-needed boost ahead of the season's big tournaments. Former FIFA President Sepp Blatter and ex-UEFA boss Michel Platini are back in a Swiss court facing fraud charges. Despite being cleared 2 years ago, now Swiss prosecutors have appealed their acquittal over a 2 million franc payment Platini received from FIFA back in 2011. Prosecutors claim Blatter and Platini misled FIFA over the payment. The duo deny any wrongdoing, calling it a legitimate compensation for consultancy work. Australian spinner Adam Zampa has said he isn't at the best at the Champions Trophy, but is confident of stepping up in the semi-final against India. Now, Zampa has taken 4 wickets so far, helping Australia reach the last 4. Despite feeling off his peak, Zampa says his experience and the ability to take, in fact, big wickets under pressure will still be valuable for the Aussies. And the much-awaited Oscars 2025 ceremony has concluded. American drama Anora has made a clean sweep, bagging 5 wins, which include Best Film, Best Director, and even the Best Actress. Adrian Brody took home the Oscar for the Best Actor for featuring in The Brutalist. Meanwhile, Mikey Madison was awarded the Best Actress. Kieran Culkin was awarded as the Best Supporting Actor for A Real Pain, and Zoe Saldana won the Best Supporting Actress for Emilia Perez, which was leading with nominations. Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton, and other superstars joined Oscar winners and other celebrities late Sunday night at the Vanity Fair party. Well, that's all we have for you today. Take care and have a wonderful day.